Welcome back. Our next guest is a comedy writer turned author who recently took a cross-country trip in a borrowed Prius. She lived to tell the tale in her new book, America the Beautiful. Welcome to New Day, Blythe Roberson. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here and that you made it in one piece because apparently the word on the streets is your friends said that you might get murdered.
Yes, every single person that I told I was going to solo road trip around the country was like, oh, okay, you're going to be killed on your trip.
Wow.
But, you know, I think that there are things about me that make me more murderable than other people.
Really?
Like, I think I have a little bit less regard for my own welfare. But so many people told me I was going to be killed that I was like, oh, this has to do with me being a woman. And when I moved to the city, people told me I was going to be killed too. So I think it's really just a way that society tells women they shouldn't go have fun.
That's really, you know, that's such a lovely thought. Is that, you know, you wake up in the morning, you're going to be killed. It's not easy. And honestly, it's a reality of the fact is that women have to think about that.
That's true. Although I did
time.
learn that women are more likely to be killed in their home and men are more likely to be killed in public. So.
That's a fun fact. Yeah. Good to know. All right. No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back. Let's get back on the route. Describe the route you took for us and how long it took you. Like, how long were you on the road writing this book?
Yeah, I was on the road for 2 months. I wasn't sure how long I would stay out there when I started, but I flew into Wisconsin where my family is, and I borrowed my stepdad's Prius.
Oh, you literally borrowed it?
Yeah.
I thought you rented it. No, you just
No,
borrowed it.
I borrowed it, yeah.
I'll take your Prius and
Yeah, he has this like kind of clunker Prius that has been hit by so many different things. So he's like, yeah, go for it. So I drove all the way up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, went to a national park there, and then kind of went west into North Dakota, down into like Utah, all those really popular parks, and then up to Glacier, over to Washington, down the coast, and then along the southern border in July, which was a horrible idea. It was so hot. Everything I had melted, and then I went home to Wisconsin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the Prius didn't melt. It made it.
Yeah, shockingly, it survived.
Okay, so you're driving all over the place. I know from being in the field as a reporter, sometimes when you're driving, there's nothing to eat but, let's say, a couple of fast food restaurants, but you're vegan. How did you find food all the way?
I was eating the most inexplicable things. I had bagels with me that I kept in a cooler so they would kind of get wet, so I'd be eating these like raw, wet bagels.
Ew.
It was so disgusting in retrospect, and I had a lot of like candy, and I had, for crazy reasons, I have a lot of money on my Starbucks card. Like, my family just thinks the only thing they know about me is I like coffee.
Yeah.
So whenever I would go to Starbucks, I would treat it like a grocery store and just buy all that stuff.
I completely understand that. That makes a lot of sense. You also spent some time at Olympic National Park and the town of Forks.
Yes.
Where you got a flat tire.
I did.
It's a wonder you didn't get jumped by a vampire or werewolf.
I know. I was hoping.
Are you a vampire now?
I wish I was. You know,
me too.
I grew up on Twilight, and I was like, oh my God, Forks, and I like pulled over, took a selfie with the sign, and was like, this is so cool. And then I was in the visitor center parking lot at like 7 a.m. brushing my teeth, and a guy pulled in, like a guy in a huge truck and like sunglasses and camo, and I was like, okay.
Oh, this is when I die?
Yeah, I was like, exactly, this guy's gonna stab me. And then he was like, hey, you have a flat tire. And I was like, dang it. And so then in Forks at like 7:30 in the morning, I had to like figure out how to deal with my flat tire.
Did you learn from that?
I did. You know, this is gonna sound really dumb. I had no car skills at all because I live in Brooklyn, so I don't have a car.
So, yeah, right.
And I was like, I can pay someone to care about a car for me, but it taught me how to like put air in my tire and like use a tire gauge, and it was really small, but it made me feel good.
All right, good for you. That's awesome. I love a tire gauge. Get the kind that's like electronic too. Those are good.
Nice.
All right. So, did you have a favorite park you visited? Did you go? You were in the Dakotas. Did you go to Deadwood?
I did not go to Deadwood.
Okay.
I only went to Wind Cave in South Dakota, but I think my favorite park was probably Big Bend in Texas.
Oh,
yeah. Have you ever been?
No, but I know of it.
Yeah, it's really remote. It's like a lot of the parks I visited were very overcrowded, but Big Bend is so far away. It's like 5 or 6 hours from the nearest airport that no one was there. There were mountains, desert, the Rio Grande. It was really great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Putting it on the list. What did you miss most while you were out there when you were on the road?
I really missed my friends. I really missed dating as well, to put it like in a way you can say on television. But yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that was the most.
So what kept you going when you were by yourself at Big Bend?
Yeah, I think, well, okay, the beauty of, like the physical beauty of America was just incredible. I quit my job because I grew up hiking and I really missed nature, and
Yeah.
all of the things I saw were beautiful. But then also the friends that I visited along the way and the friends that I made along the way, which was shocking for me because I hate strangers. But after 2 months, I was like talking to people I didn't know. Yeah.
That's huge. It's really important.
Yeah.
Back to you said you quit your job. Was that when you were a researcher?
Yes.
So you once were a researcher for Late Night with Stephen Colbert.
Yes.
So now that we're seeing, I just wanted to ask you about some perspective on this writer strike that we're seeing right now. What do you think about all of this?
Yeah, so I'm not personally WGA, but I am friends with a lot of people who are, and I know so many people who work in the industry, and I think people deserve to be paid fairly for their work.
Sure do.
And I think that corporations are acting like streaming is not profitable, but the CEOs of all these companies are making money hand over fist. So I think that there's a disconnect there, and people, deserve to be paid for their labor.
Well, and that's the future. It's streaming, and I think that the problem overall is that we're seeing this, in a lot of corporations saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not making a profit," but every year these CEOs are going home with millions and millions of dollars. So. I'm not an economist, but something smells fishy. Thank you so much. What do you hope people take away from the book?
I think that I set off on this trip wanting this individual adventure, like a Jack Kerouac version of freedom, but I really was like, I'm supported by so many people. This trip wouldn't have been possible without my community. So I think community is what is important.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming to be a part of our community. Thank you so much for sharing this. What a fun summer read for all y'all. All right.